Hi guys and welcome to the Groove Grid. My name's Dave and this is episode number 3 of the progression series. In this episode I'm going to be figuring out the chord progression to the song Regulate by Warren G featuring Nate Dogg. Regulate by Warren G featuring Nate Dogg was released in 1994 and it was the first single released from the soundtrack to the film Above the Rim. It was also released on the Warren G album called Regulate the G-Funk Era. The music is sampled from the song I Keep Forgetting by Michael McDonald. Essentially the chord progression is just 3 main chords and then there's a few extra chords thrown at the end which are like passing chords to get it back to the beginning and just to add a little bit more movement to the chord progression. Okay, so this chord progression is based around 3 main chords. Now we're in the key of E minor, which means we're taking the notes from the G major scale, but the notes and the chords resolve to E minor as the tonal center instead of G. So technically you can see as we're in the key of G major, but it's E minor because that's where our tonal center is. So the chords we're using are E minor, which is the 6th chord within the key of G, B minor, which is the 3 chord in the key of G, which is in the key of G, and C major, the 4 chord in the key of G. And we're going to use some other chords that will link the chord progression together, but we'll come to that in a bit. So the progression starts by playing an E minor 7 chord and then moves to a B minor 7. It's a great change that always sounds smooth. It's something that I've always liked to do. So if I ever want to jam something that sounds just groovy or smooth, really nice change. And then it works really well by doing what they've done here, going to the 4 chords, C major, and they're using C major 9, and that's a really nice sound. So give it a try, experiment with whatever key you want to play in, but using a 6-3-4 chord progression, and it always sounds really smooth. Really nice chords. The cool thing for you to look out for in this chord progression and for you to take note of and try and take some inspiration from is whereabouts in the bar the chords actually change. So we're in 4/4 time, and in this progression the first bar is a full bar of E minor 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then half a bar of E minor 7 again, 1, 2, and then they play E minor 7 again on beat number 3. And then on beat number 4 of the second bar, we play B minor 7. That's going to lead us now into the C major 9, which goes throughout the full 3rd bar. So C major 9 comes in on beat 1 of the 3rd bar and goes all the way through it. So now we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the first 3 bars. So the C major 9 plays through that 3rd bar all the way through. And it's also still ringing through to the first beat of the last bar, bar 4. So what I mean by that is you don't actually play again on beat 1 of this last bar, you just let it ring out still. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. This is where there's a turnaround that brings us back to the beginning of the progression. Now we play C major 9 again on the and of 1 of this last bar. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and. Then on the number 2 we play B minor, or B minor 7. On the and of 2 we go to A minor. Then on beat 3 we play B minor over F sharp. Now note here that the chord is essentially a B minor chord, but they've changed the bass note to an F sharp. This is a really cool thing to experiment with as well, and it can add a lot of different flavours to your chords. Now the last beat of this bar is beat number 4, and on this beat we go back to B minor, which is then going to lead us to the start of the progression, E minor 7, on number 1 again. So there's a lot going on there in this one bar. So I'm going to go from bar 3, just so you can hear how it all sounds. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. I know my time was a bit loose there, but I just want to give you an idea of where what numbers the chord changes are happening on. And you can see that adds a lot of movement to the end of the chord progression, and it leads you back to that E minor really nicely. Try to experiment with this and give it a go. So take two chords that you like the sound of and just have a go at seeing if you can change chords in a different place to where you normally would. I'm going to take you over to my session in a moment so you can see a chord progression that I've come up with that is inspired by this chord progression from this Warren G song. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video, and if you have any suggestions about what artists or what tracks you want to see covered in this series, then just drop them in the comment section below. Okay, so I've made a basic loop of Regulate so you can hear how it sounds. Now I think I forgot to mention earlier, it's at 96 BPM. I've put the keyboard part down, the drum groove and the bass line, so let's hear how it sounds. It's a really awesome chord progression. So let's go on to another session now that I've put together where I've taken some inspiration from this progression, and let's see what it sounds like. So this is the chord progression I've put together that's inspired by this Warren G tune. So I've kept the tempo similar, so rather than being at 96, though, I've gone down a little bit slower, so it's 90 BPM, so I've changed it just a little bit. I've changed the key from E minor, which is essentially the key of G major, but resolving to E minor. I've changed it to the key of D minor, which is actually the key of F major, but resolving to the D minor, which is the 6th chord. And I've kept the chords types the same, so I've gone for the 6, 3 and 4 chords. So I've gone for D minor 7, which is the 6th chord, the 3 chord, which is an A minor 7, and the 4 chord, which is a B flat major 7. So I've changed it from major 9 to major 7 just because I like the sound of major 7s. I think they sound awesome. Okay, so I've started off with a D minor 7 chord, and this goes throughout the entire of the first bar. The second bar starts again on a D minor 7 chord, and then I've changed to A minor 7. So I've decided to use the influence now from the Warren G track, and I've changed on an upbeat, so on an and rather than the downbeat on the number. So I've changed to the A minor 7 in the second bar on the and after the number 2. So let's hear how that sounds. Okay, so that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. So hopefully, even without drums yet and bass, the progression sounds like it's got a bit more groove to it already without even adding the bass or the drums to it yet. So now on to bar 3. Bar 3 is B flat major 7, and that is throughout the entire of bar 3. So let's hear all that together. On this last bar, I've used a bit of a turnaround to bring us back into the beginning of the progression, just like it did in the Warren G tune. Now, I've used the same chords as I've used throughout the progression. So the B flat major 7 chord and the A minor chord are the chords we've already used. I've also added a G minor chord just for a bit of variety, something different. Now I chose the G minor chord because I was playing around with all the chords, with the 3 main chords, and then decided I needed another chord to go in to this turnaround. And I just tried out different chords from the key until I found one I liked. If when I put this into the turnaround I didn't like the sound of G minor, I would just choose another chord from the key until I found one that worked. Remember, use your ears. If it sounds good, it is good. If it sounds bad, it is bad. So on beat number 1, I've played B flat major 7 again. On the and of 1, I've played A minor. On beat number 2, I've gone to G minor, and I've let that run throughout beat number 2, and then into beat number 3 as well. So now we change to A minor on the and of 3, and that's going to lead us back into the beginning. So this is where all you have to do is just play around with the numbers and the ands and things like that and decide what you like the sound of. So it sounds like I'm changing some really random places there, but it just sounds nice. So let's hear the progression. Let's just get it so it'll loop. There we go. And let's hear the progression all the way through a few times. So a nice sound. So that's the general gist of the chord progression I've put together. But now I'm just going to add the drum part and the bass line to this so you can hear how this groove sounds all together. And this is a good foundation for you to start a new beat from. So let's hear how it all sounds. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you do have any suggestions about who you want to see covered in this series, then please leave them in the comment section below. If you take this idea and make a track out of it, then please feel free to leave links to your tracks in the comment section below as well. I'd love to hear the music that you're making. So I've been Dave from The Groove Grid, and I will see you next time.